and welcome to Live in the Hive. I'm Michelle Eagleton and you're watching the only online magazine show dedicated to theatre across Greater Manchester. Have we had a good week? Well, I hope so. It's been another glorious week, and here in the Hive, another hot one. This is where I am every week in my garden bar, the Hive, bringing the latest news and interviews from the theatre world and productions that are winging their way to our fair city, and there's so many of them. What have we got in store for you this week? Well, I tell you what, we have got a great guest. We've got the wonderful Georgina Field. Now, she is currently rehearsing Blonde Bombshells of 1943 that's winging its way to the Octagon in Bolton very, very soon. She's going to tell us all about that. Gets me very, very excited, that production. And if that wasn't enough, we've got an extended version of Greater Manchester Theatre News. So we're going to be telling you about some of the shows that are coming up, some of the new shows that have been announced. It is all in here tonight. Do not go anywhere. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. So as they say, on with the show. We're going to start off tonight with a wonderful chat I had with Georgina Field about a very nostalgic production that's going to take you back to an era when everything was very, very glamorous. It's an era I absolutely adore myself, and that's what I had to tell Georgina straight away as soon as I met her. Now, I love the sound of this. I've got to say, I grew up on 1940s musicals like Judy Garland, Mickey Rooney, the whole glamour of it, even though it was such a hard time because the war was going on. It was amazing as well, wasn't it? Glorious.
It was a very glamorous time, wasn't it? It was the time when, you know, just normal people wore suits as a that was their normal day wear, and men always wore tailored trousers. And I love the fashion of that era. Or it's not even fashion, it's just what everybody wore, you know.
It was
I loved it. And Glenn Miller, I used to listen to Glenn Miller as a child. I just fell in love with all that big band stuff, you know. My dad was a musician, so I think that really influenced me, you know, and loving jazz and loving big bands. And
it's a classy kind of time, I think, that era. And you guys are bringing that nostalgia back with Blonde Bombshells of 1943. What's it like? I know you're in rehearsals at the moment, but it must feel pretty special.
It feels quite magical at times. There are moments in the show where you just feel like kind of a bit vulnerable and a bit kind of emotional, I think, because some of the songs really touch your heart, and they're timeless. They kind of speak across the decades of time to all of us. And I'm going a bit now, actually. Some of the songs are just, they're so, and it was a time when people were so stoic and resilient in the face of, you know, that the next door neighbour's house would cave in, but yours would be left standing. And
it's a time women, I think, were coming into their own, because the men are at war. It's like the women are here. The women take control and perhaps do the things that they wouldn't have normally had the chance to do as women.
Absolutely spot on. It was an incredible time for women to come out of the home and go into the factories, go into the workplaces that previously they'd been denied. And there was a lot of politics around that as well. There was a lot of politics with unions, not being happy about women taking men's jobs, not being happy about the women being paid less, because that would mean that maybe that in future they would employ women rather than men to do those jobs and save money. And there was so much sort of politics around all that. But in the midst of the Blitz, or in the midst of the, you know, the bombings happening all over the UK, and these women, like the women in the girls' band, the all-girl aggregation,
Love it.
They got these opportunities that possibly wouldn't have come their way had it not been for the war. They wouldn't have got as many gigs because all the men of fighting age have been sent off to war. Then there were big opportunities. But this band is not it's not just a part-time band. They're all professional musicians. And these opportunities, they're just stepping up to fill those shoes of the previous bands, which were usually male. And they usually just had like a female singer. They did have women's bands that existed, but they really came into their own.
And we get this flavour, this experience on stage at the Octagon, and you're all performing live, instruments on stage. Yes. It must actually feel like being in a concert.
Yeah, absolutely. We're all musicians. We're a sort of a hybrid of actors, really. We call ourselves actor musos. We're actor musicians, and we all play a few instruments, and we all sing, and we dance, and that sort of thing. That's our genre sort of thing in the theatre. And what's fantastic about this show is that all the music is live. It's there. It's happening now. There's no backing tracks. There's not that backing tracks are a bad thing, but we're not using them because we're in a period piece. So
and it is amazing when you've experienced something like that, because I've seen people who are performers and the musicians on stage, and it's got that magical kind of feel about it, like you said earlier. And not only have you got Glenn Miller, you've got like the Andrews sisters in there, George Formby.
George Formby. Oh, there's a lot of humor in this show. I mean, the George Formby is just such a treat. And and the script as well is really like rat-a-tat-a-tat with the funny lines and stuff, and it's a real feel-good show. It's a real nostalgic, yet kind of it could be any time, really, because of they're just humans, they're just human beings.
And Betty, your character, then is she the one that's trying to pull it all together? Because these women are going off to all these places entertaining, and one by one they're all jumping off and hooking up with GI guys. I mean, Georgina.
That has been a bit of a problem in the band. Being seduced by these gorgeous Americans,
So has Betty not said yes to any of them yet?
Betty is married to the band.
Right.
Really.
Okay.
Yeah. Betty, and also Betty she's focused, she's driven, she's got as far as she's got already through actually staying clear of marriage, staying clear of relationships, and washing men's smelly socks, and all those hideous, awful things that in 2023, as a modern woman, you wouldn't dream of washing a man's smelly socks, but in the 1940s it was expected of you, and Betty's just absolutely shunned that and just committed to her career. So but all the young women, all the gorgeous young women that she recruits get swept off their feet by these handsome GIs in uniforms and whatnot. So
it sounds an absolute gem of a script. I know that you have said that in 3 words it'll be glamorous, witty and sassy, and it sounds exactly like that.
Yes, that's exactly how it is. You know, I'm all for people dressing up. I'm just putting out there, folks, you don't have to dress up. But the 1940s with the sort of little tea dresses and the
bit of a
padded
stole.
shoulders. Yeah, the padded shoulders and the curls, like the sort of sausage curls on the hair. I just love all that. And the men can wear suits, tailored suits.
I think we make this happen. I think we put it out there now.
Yeah, put it
if
out
you
there.
Come in to see the Blonde Bombshells of 1943 at the Octagon, we want to see some audience participation when it comes to outfits, right?
Oh, yes, please. I would love that. I would love
and
that.
there are so many places out there that do 1940s nights and organisations. And how fantastic would it be for you guys to look out and see that?
Oh, I'd love that. That would make my day.
Oh, I hope we can make that happen. That would be absolutely fantastic. So if you are planning to head down to Blonde Bombshells of 1943, get on your glad rags. Go on, see if you can get some 1940s clobber and get yourself down there. Now, I did promise you at the start of the show an extended Greater Manchester Theatre news. And I'd like to say I always keep my promises. So here it is. Greater Manchester Theatre news. And this week we have had a very exciting announcement come from away is heading its way to Manchester direct from the West End. Now, if you haven't heard about this, where have you been? It has been hailed as one of the best musicals of the century, and it's going to be coming to the Lowry in Salford from the 3rd of December next year to January 2025. I know that seems a long way off, but it is definitely worth the wait for a 5-week run. Now, it's all about the real life story of 7,000 air passengers from all over the world who were grounded in Canada during the wake of 9/11. There's been some really amazing plaudits about this. The music is outstanding. And if you don't believe me, take a look at this.
We were halfway across the Atlantic when I got a call saying there'd been an incident in New York.
I'm reporting live at Gander Airport where the 19th plane has just touched down.
Gander Town Council declares a state of emergency. We landed on this rock in the middle of nowhere.
My son's a firefighter in New York, and I couldn't get through to him. They needed food, bed, clothes.
Here, when a stranger knocks on your door, we take care of them.
And the thing is,
it's all true.
Wow, an incredible musical winging its way to the Lowry. Tickets for that are on sale now. And it has been a very busy week for the Lowry this week. They've also announced this breaking news. Yes, it's been 30 years since the launch of the trailblazing smash hit TV series Drop the Dead Donkey, and now it's going to be live on stage for the very first time. Now, this is going to be the 13th of February to the 17th of February next year, 2024, and it's going to star the original cast members, which I think is brilliant. You've got Stephen Tompkinson, Neil Pearson, Susanna Doyle, Robert Duncan. I could go on, but it's a brand new production. It's going to be touring across the UK. You're going to have the razor sharp wit, the classic British humour, and hot off this press production, it is, of course, written by the same award-winning writing team as the original hit sitcom. It's Drop the Dead Donkey, the reawakening. It exposes the underside of the broadcasting industry in all its riotous glory. I think this is going to be absolutely fabulous on stage. I'll keep you updated on the tour schedule, the cast and the creative team as well. And if you want, you can head over to dropthedeaddonkey.co.uk for more in the meantime. But what about something a little bit closer to home, eh? Well, yes, you don't have to wait till 2024 or 2025 for this one, because it opens next week at the Opera House. Yes, the commitment rolls into town this week at Manchester's Opera House, based on the BAFTA award-winning film and the book by Roddy Doyle himself. This smash hit production is starring the one and only Coronation Street legend, Nigel Pavaro. If you've not seen it before, it is definitely a night you will never forget. It's been in the West End for 5 years. It's back on tour with all its soul classics. It's about 20 of them that get performed live on stage. If you love your soul, you will love this. Things like Try a Little Tenderness, River Deep Mountain High, and Mustang Sally, which is, of course, iconic if you've ever seen The Commitment. That's at the Opera House this week. And if you fancy a laugh, then get yourself down to the Royal Exchange. They have got laughs in the bucket loads for their latest production, No Pay, No Way. It's been on for the past couple of weeks. It is still on there and packing in the crowds. Take a look at this. What great reviews and what a slide. I mean, I would love to star in that show, just to go down that slide every night. It looks absolutely epic. And the story itself about women rioting in a supermarket because of the price hikes. I mean, we've all been there, haven't we? Get yourself down to the Royal Exchange to see No Pay, No Way if you can. It sounds an absolute hoot. And talking of great nights, of course, our show is coming up as part of the Greater Manchester Fringe Festival. That's happening in July. We are part of it for one night only, an audience with the stars of stage and screen. It's going to be epic. Come and join us at Sonata. If you haven't got your tickets yet and you want to find out more, then take a look at this.
Fancy a night out with the stars of stage and screen? Well, join me on the 6th of July at Sonata Cabaret and Piano Bar in the heart of Manchester city centre. I'll be doing my best Graham Norton impression as I interview West End star and Coronation Street actress Jodie Prenger, co-creator of Early Doors film Mealy, and actress from Rita Sue and Bob 2, Michelle Holmes. On top of that, we'll be serenaded on the night by Britain's Got Talent semi-finalist Rob Bowden-King, who'll be blasting out some beautiful show tunes. All we need is you. Tickets are on sale now and all proceeds are going to Prevent Breast Cancer charity. I'll see you there.
Oh, we cannot wait for that night. It's going to be a really brilliant occasion. So I hope you can join us if you can. That would be amazing. And of course, if you want to find out about what is going on in the world of theatre across Greater Manchester, maybe you want to go to production yourself, then all you need to do is head to the I Love Manchester website. They've got all the stuff that you need to know on there. And we are here every week here in the Hive for Live in the Hive. And if you fancy giving us a follow on social media, we'd love that too. We're on Instagram and Twitter at Live in the Hive 21. As I say though, we'll be back with more guests and more news next week here in the Hive, Sundays at 8 o'clock, streaming on the I Love Manchester Facebook page and our very own Live in the Hive Facebook page. We'll see you next week. Have a great week until then. See you Sunday.